Yeah, but we'll get that's whatever. We'll get into that when we decide to start.
So speaking of R. Kelly,
but yeah, R. Kelly. So R. Kelly and the Plague of Violence Against Women. This was a opinion piece written on Daily News. As you know, we already did a video on R. Kelly and the whole situation and gave some of our thoughts on it.
and we said we're gonna go deeper.
Well, not
especially,
deeper. We're just gonna flush out our opinions more here.
and I said y'all wasn't gonna like what I had to say.
So R. Kelly has become a lightning rod for think pieces about the violence against women. It started as a violence against black women, but like always, the other racist white women took it and said, oh, look what happens to women. Look what just happened to the Gabby girl at the same time as this R. Kelly case. See, violence against women is
By the
normalized.
way, that story to me is a ritual story they do every couple of years with a random white woman that goes missing, and then it's a search for her. I think it's bullshit.
You think they're going to find him?
I think if they find him, he's going to be
Out of commission.
Yeah.
So R. Kelly, as you said, he finally was convicted. The sentencing is sometime later this year.
You know, Bill Cosby also came out and spoke about it, but I did not listen to what he had to say about it.
It wasn't Bill Cosby.
Oh, who
allegedly, it was his publicist
okay.
who said that he felt like R. Kelly was railroaded.
I agree.
Your opinion is your opinion. But the reason why I'm going to say R. Kelly has been used as a scapegoat, because a lot of people say, well, he's guilty of what he did. We know. I agree.
Yeah.
But they didn't go after the whole shebang. Once again, he was convicted of sex trafficking and racketeering, not for being with underage women. Underage girls, should I say.
Lord have mercy.
Underage girls.
Underage girls, not women.
Once that gets confusing, because now with the feminist talk, you're supposed to call them under. We're not even getting to that. I'm not even going to go into that. So I feel like they could have. There's no way you can convince me R. Kelly is the head of some empire of sex trafficking and racketeering. R. Kelly can barely read and write. Now, I'm not saying, hell, we know that the mafia, the mafias back in the 30s and stuff, a lot of them were illiterate, but they were really the muscle. They would hire people, typically Jewish and Irish lawyers and all them to handle the business and the negotiating, and they were the muscle. And as bloody as they is, it's funny how the mafia is remembered as some positive, not really positive, but some
pop
culture.
Time.
Yeah, not pop culture. It's like there's this mystique around the mafia, where it's held in some high regard, and it's like
they've turned. But mob, they've fantasized it.
Yeah. So back to the point. I understand that R. Kelly, even though he may not be able to read and write as well, that doesn't mean he can't run an empire. But we know it's not him. We know for a fact that parents were willingly bringing their kids to him, willingly, in order to gain something, either for their money,
career,
or to bring their kid. Hell, we all watched Surviving with R. Kelly. What did every last one of those women or girls say? They admitted, my parents basically sent me to him for a chance to be with R. Kelly, the great R. Kelly, and it led to this. And I see all these people saying stuff like, the reason why R. Kelly was able to get away with it for so long is because people kept calling the girls fast or acting grown. And I have a question. When a 15-year-old girl admittedly sneaks off to a concert with a fake ID to meet R. Kelly, what is she?
She's fast.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not blaming them. I'm really blaming the parents and R. Kelly. But at some point, we have to look at the kid and say, look, back to the Dave Chappelle bit that he did. How old is 15? At 15, you can go to prison for murder. At 15, you can, all these other things can apply to you. But when it comes to this, it's like you're basically a 5-year-old all of a sudden. Like, do you want to do this? You may not understand the circumstances of doing it and how they might lead to your future, but you pursuing it means either your parents have been negligent in teaching you about this, or it's something you've already experienced and you're pursuing it anyway.
Well, that's why we need black fathers in the household.
100%.
We need black fathers in the household. I know some of those.
Hold on. Not just black fathers. Proper black fathers.
That's what I'm saying.
Girls had fathers in their lives.
That's what I'm alluding to.
Okay.
proper black fathers in the households, teaching their daughters, grooming their daughters on how to be in relationships with men, how to value themselves and not just see themselves as sexual objects or using their bodies to get what they want. Because that's the whole quote.
Yeah.
Use your body to get what you want.
Yep. And this, in the whole situation, like I said, you don't blame the young girls, but you definitely have to point at this and say, this is not good behavior.
And not only that, we grew up in an era where, I mean, not grew up in an era, but our grandmother was like,
see, and that's this is where the situation gets touchy, because we all got great grandmothers and grandmothers that started dating our grandfather at 15 and he was 22.
Yeah, 20, 22, 25.
Sometimes older.
Sometimes 30.
And when we start saying, well, that don't mean it's right, well, that's what it was. I'm just saying.
Because once again, if you look at it, men often always sought out younger.
I won't say
I'm not gonna say they sought out younger. But when you're
younger women, not girls,
not younger girls, younger women. We're specifying, but not pedos.
Around the early 20s, yeah,
because they're able to start having children.
Yeah,
because that's what it was about. Then it was about having children for sharecropping. Yep. Those were your employees. Your kids was your employees,
pretty much. And a lot of men, a lot of people want to admit this. A lot of your granddaddies had multiple families.
Yeah, they had a family on the south side and a family on the west side.
Yeah, and he would go to their house, spend 4 days here, 3 days here,
or switch it up next week, 3 days there and 4 days there.
Sometimes he might spend a whole week over here and spend a whole week. It was just what it was. Mama knew what was going on. The kids kind of knew, and then when they turned their teenage years, they would meet each other. Oh, okay, it's my brother. Oh, it's my sister or something. But I get it. Times change, and it's, we're supposed to be so-called progressive and move with the times and all this other stuff. But listen, because
we have to see this, and I've said this in other videos. The women are always there's always more women than there are men.
Yeah.
So the Most High meant for men to have more than one woman, and the black woman should be viewing it. So if there's 5 million black women and there's 3 million black men, that means some men you're gonna have to cleave. Yeah. Some men are gonna have more than one. Unless you want to go date out and be with another race of men.
And that's where it becomes a situation where there's going to be men who don't. Now, I'm not talking about homosexual men. I'm talking about straight men who don't want to be in a relationship. Then you got the man who want multiple women.
Then you got a man who just don't want to take on having 2 women. One is just enough for them.
So it's a choice that got to be made.
But in
a structured society with a strong culture, this wouldn't be a problem.
And that homosexuality is not going to be in that strong culture. So it will be either you want 2 or 3, you want 1,
or you find a dude who only want 1.
That's how it's going to be.
So yeah, I saw speaking on that, I saw this woman tweeted out something, and she made me think about it in a different perspective. This is a quick off right here. She said that the music they're making now, because we would listen to the music and we say they're pushing homosexuality agenda.
Ooh, they pushing homosexuality agenda and interracial agenda now.
But this girl pointed out, she was like, well, there's also rappers who are pushing it in a way that you don't think about it. Like you'll see a rapper say money over hoes, or F bitches, I'm with my niggas and all that stuff. And you think about that from a certain perspective, is he saying I'm focused on me and getting this money and I'll worry about women later? But she said, well, what if he's saying I'd rather be with my male friends than be with a woman? Is it kind of desensitizing boys to view women as, we always, you hear this saying how men view women as just sex. And what if that's really what they're pushing? And what if that leaks into some homoerotic? I mean, if you listen to like NBA Youngboy, y'all might like him. I don't mind his music, but there's certain things he said in his music before that make you go, Like he said, instead of spending money on the woman, he'll spend it all on his homies. Half of that you can agree with, instead of spending all your money on a random woman, but spending it on your homies.
If a man don't work, a man don't eat.
So it's like, why are you saying you won't spend it on her,
but you rather spend it on a dude?
Now, I don't know what he meant by what he meant by that. Might have been
that's how I'm taking it and I'm receiving.
Maybe he meant I got millions, so.
Yeah,
I got millions, so It is what it is. And it's almost like when R. Kelly, what was that song he made? Young and You. Is it he's the one that made that, right?
What?
Ready?
Seems like you read. Yeah.
So the same way we're accusing those dudes that might be spread, he was spreading. I mean, he did call himself the Pied Piper.
If you look into that, look that up.
The Pied Piper is a man who played the flute and convinced little kids to follow him into the woods, which was a recreation of Pan. And Pan, not just the Disney movie, the actual deity.
Pan.
So, and then you had Pretty Ricky. Was it not Pretty Ricky? Who was that made a song? Aging Number to Number.
That was Aaliyah.
It was Jesus Christ.
Yeah, R. Kelly made that song. Wrote that song for her.
Pretty Ricky them had a song like that too.
I can't remember.
I think they had a song called Aging Number to Number. But yeah, Aaliyah had that song, which clearly was written by R. Kelly.
Yeah.
So I mean, the music is used to create a certain energy amongst the people.
You're right. Pretty Ricky did have a song called Aging Number to Number. But like you said, theirs was more of them talking to older women, not younger girls.
Yeah. And that leads into another segue. Younger dudes with older women.
Oh, like.
If you remember earlier this year, it came out, was it this year or last? That was a couple of years, maybe a little while ago, where it came out that Mary J had messed around with a younger Danny Boy. Mary J was in like 22, 23, something like that. He was like 15. And it kind of came and went.
Yeah. Nobody
said she was a predator. Uproar. Nothing much was said. It was,
And then Jada.
And now, Daz Dillinger says Jada Pinkett had an entanglement with Chris Kelly when he was underage. Daz Dillinger said that Jada Pinkett Smith was having an entanglement with Chris Kelly and Chris Cross in 1993. At the time, Chris would have been around about 15 and Jada was 22.
Is that the dark skin one or the light skin one?
I don't know. Look it up. But well, we know there are double standards, and we definitely view each gender differently. Because when we see a young 15-year-old boy get with Jada Smith at 22, we say, man, he must have had some game. She must have really been feeling him. Why don't we see that as predatory behavior by her? And why don't we see him as some naive kid the same way we do when young girls are manipulated by older men? Which one is it?
It's the darker skin one.
So why don't we hold this to the same standard we would a 15-year-old girl? Because when it's a 15-year-old girl and a 22-year-old man, we say he manipulated her. But when it's the opposite, it's seen as he was able to convince the older woman to let him do it.
Or we can go to like a more vulgar, a grown man penetrating a young girl, underage young girl. They see that as more of a predator than a woman letting a younger boy penetrate her.
That's what I'm saying.
The imagery of it is more vile for them.
Okay, you're saying it seems as it's more dangerous or violent.
They're viewing as, he's hurting. Yeah, it's raping. He's hurting her. She's never experienced that.
Yeah, okay. But it's still society deems it that way. Let me say, it's like, even I'm be honest, when I hear, unless it's a situation where a dude is saying he had a babysitter that made him do things he didn't want to do, that's different from a 15-year-old saying, I got it with Jada Pinkett.
Because that's seen as you becoming a man.
He was able to convince an older woman.
You get props.
Yeah.
But for a girl, it's seen as you a hoe. You're a 15-year-old.
No, she's a hoe. She fast.
She
acting like a grown woman. There's two different type of names, fast and hoe. Hoe is you slinging it to. Hoe would be her getting it on with a bunch of 15-year-old dudes.
But that's what they think it leads to. Once she opens that door, she's just gonna be messing with everybody.
See, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith have been all over the news this week following Will's feature in GQ, where he spilled the beans about the open marriage. The legendary actor admitted during the profile that he once wanted to have a harem of 20 women following him around, including Halle Berry. We all know about Jada's previous entanglement with singer August, and we've been learning about the unconventional nature of Will and Jada's marriage in recent months. But apparently Jada has been playing this game for a longer time than we thought.
So when Will Smith tells me that he wanted Halle Berry to be his girlfriend, I'm gonna say
in his harem.
In his harem.
Not his girl, one of his women.
That tells me that occurred, allegedly.
And it also means that Halle ain't too difficult to bed down.
I believe at one point during Will Smith's marriage that him and Halle Berry was messing around.
Well, wasn't Jada supposed to be with that Spanish dude from that TV show she was on?
Hawthorne, the one who was married to J-Lo.
Yeah, she was messing around with him.
Mark
allegedly.
Anthony.
Yeah, TMZ and all them was on her ass about that relationship, that fling. So I think they both been, the problem is Jada, and same thing with August. He was a younger dude. He was grown.
He was an adult.
I think he was 21, 22, something like that. Maybe a little younger. And she was clearly way older than him. He was a guy going through a lot mentally. And she manipulated him. He allegedly fall in love, and then you cast him to the side, and now he's just brokenhearted. And
do you think
what got me? I expected the dudes to be like, "All right, get over it." But it amazed me the women were like, "He's grown, get over it." I'm like, wow.
Think Jada Pinkett Smith is Will Smith's handler.
You think she's his handler or he's hers?
I think she's his handler. I think Jada Pinkett Smith is far more.
Well, she was part of a rock band.
I think Jada Pinkett is a freak.
Oh yeah, she admitted it.
And I believe Will Smith is into some other things.
What's that dude name? What's it called? The one he was been accused with?
Dwayne Martin, Tisha Campbell, aka Applehead.
Allegedly, Dwayne Martin. That's been a rumor going around.
I believe that Will Smith I think Jada Pinkett as well. I think she's into some freaky stuff. Listen, she was in a movie with Set It Off with Queen Latifah.
During a recent interview, rapper Daz Dillinger, who worked closely with Jada's ex Tupac, claimed that in 1993 Jada was having an entanglement with Chris Kelly from Criss Cross. At the time, Chris would have been 15 years old and Jada would have been 22. Now, this is the video. I'm going to show you all the video. Go ahead.
And before you go into it, and Jada Pinkett is a very small woman in stature.
Yeah.
So that plays a innocent role into her. They were like, she's like, what, 4'9"?
I don't know.
So they're like, oh, well, she's the same height as him. It don't give a fuck how height it is. She's a 22-year-old woman messing with a 15-year-old child.
And then all the other stuff that supposedly happened with them two.
They've been through hell.
With JD. When we gonna get JD up out of here? We're gonna stop. Let's move on.
Remember, he did have a show.
Yeah, Chris Cross. Yeah, that's about little homies. That was our homies right there. You know what I'm saying? We kicked it with them all the motherfucking time. Wow. That was the first dude I seen. You think Jada Pinkett was entangling? She was entangling with Chris Kelly from motherfucking Criss Cross, because Criss Cross was in the room and he was like, Jada Pinkett is at the door, but don't leave. Take this weed. Chill. We like, damn, that motherfucker gave us an ounce of weed. We're going to kick it right here. Then he came back in. He said, yeah, that was Jada Pinkett. I'm like, damn, this nigga fucking Jada Pinkett at a young age.
Wow. Chris Kelly was that?
1993, around that way.
Wow.
You know, yes, she was entangling me. Shout out to Jada.
So that tells me that Hollywood is allowing the book to be open on Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's relationship, or Will Smith and Jada Pinkett are finally ready to tell us.
What this tells me is this is a controlled demolition. This could have went left after the thing that happened with August. People expected it to come out about there's alleged that August and Will Smith.
People been saying this for years that Will and Smith has been allegedly in an open relationship.
Predators. She is a predator as well, isn't she?
Yes, she's a predator.
The same way Mary is a predator.
Yes.
And we don't talk enough, because I've seen, a lot of these, like I said, with the R. Kelly thing going on, we saw a lot of people making the point about young black girls needing protecting. And not just young black girls, black women. And agreed. Full stop. There's no but. Agreed. On the other hand, we don't talk about the young black boys. We don't. A matter of fact, it's a joke. People make jokes about dudes in prison getting raped.
Yeah.
That's rape.
Tyler Perry, I think he said he was molested by a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I can show you video after these dudes admitting that these older women, when they were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, we're not even talking about 16, 17-year-olds dudes getting with older women. We're talking about not even teenagers.
What's that movie?
Well, Denzel.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about, and he was molested by his adopted family.
Yeah.
And well, the girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that stuff don't get talked about at all. And when you make these points that it's you make it a point that it's only black girls and black women in the community that need protecting from sexual assault, you exclude the black boys. That's detrimental. Because
Yes.
you ignore that.
Because it affects their psyche too.
Yeah, this guy
when it happens to them.
This guy on Twitter has said this. He said, "This is similar story to Danny Boy and Mary J. Blige. What I find striking about these stories is there's almost always told on accident. The men almost never realize what they're revealing because there's no language or conception of female predators." Exactly. As a matter of fact, let me show this. And I'm only showing this to prove a point that sexual assault is a problem for children, not just a particular gender. This is a study done, PMC. You see here the study design. We analyzed 1999 to 2007 data from the Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance System, a cross-sectional national representative survey of students in grades 9-12 established in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The Kaplan-Meier method was used to compute the probability of survival, not having to become sexually active at each year, age 12 to 17, and separate estimates were produced for each level of gender and racial ethnic group. African American males experienced sexual debut earlier than all other groups. All tests of significance at whatever. The Asian males and females experienced sexual debut later than all groups. By their 17th birthday, the probability of sexual debut was less than 35% for Asians and less than 60% for Caucasians. In Hispanic females, the probability of sexual debut by their 17th birthday was the greatest for African Americans, females 74, males 82, and Hispanic males 69. So right here it's saying young black boys are the number one to experience sex earlier than any other demographic. Black girls are too.
Yeah.
That's not to say that it affects black boys more. The point is both. It needs to be spoken on for both. I just don't understand why that's so hard to say. It's like when you say that we want to talk about the black. That's fine.
My God, everything wicked is African Americans. We are literally number one in every damn thing that's wicked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that was a heavy story.
You just sit here and you think number one in everything that's wicked.
Yeah.
Almost if it was designed that way.
Almost. So the R. Kelly thing to me, it's a cut and dry situation with whether or not he's guilty or not. Obviously he is. But him being a person who was a victim that turned to be somebody who victimized other people is a story that we see a lot. But the other side is never spoken about consistently.
With the males.
That's all I'm saying. As for the women, look, all the parents should be arrested. What's his ex-wife name? Drea? How you say her name? Dre?
Andrea,
how you say her name? She should be arrested. The one who allegedly let the girl in the tape, get urinated on. She knew the girl. Like, you brought her there.
His wife?
Was that her, right? No, I'm sorry.
That wasn't his wife.
I'm sorry. That was the other woman. Her too. She should be arrested as well.
Well, his ex-wife says she does not know anything about that.
Well, now she's celebrating his arrest, saying that she's glad to see justice. And like, but you just said.
But if you go back to, I researched this. There was a clip in that show she had on Hollywood Exes where she says she supported him through everything, negative, good or bad. She stood there by him. She was loyal. So when she says that tells me she had some indication of what was going on. I'm not saying she knew everything, but she knew something wasn't right.
Well, she had to be a part of it at least. When I say a part of it, she aided it.
Did he recently just start having these women in the houses after they got divorced, or how was he doing this before?
Once again, he is not the head of the damn machine. They used him, they got rid of him. He's the easy person to get rid of so that they can protect other people.
Yeah.
There was a tape found. The reason why we found the tape of him with the underage girl The dude, the family, the husband and wife that found it, they found it in their attic because they thought it was a recorded sports game.
So somebody who lived in the house prior left
No,
it there?
it's theirs. They don't know how it got there.
Shit.
They purchased it, or somebody gave it to him and told him to lie and say they got. I believe, he was doing this, creating this, and selling it across the Midwest, possibly. I believe it's a whole operation.
Agreed.
They call it CP. I'm not gonna say the actual words. I think it's a whole operation of CP. And they're making it seem like he's the head when I think he was just somebody who was a part of the machine.
Agreed.
I wish they would have went further into the investigation. How about investigating him, interrogating him for names, something. They just went after him and moved on.
Because they wanted him to be the face of it.
Yeah. But anyway.